Takes me every by chance.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Fishing champs. How you doing? Mr. Poseidon here. Welcome to another episode or a live stream show starring tonight Alan Battista, Chesapeake Trilogy. I hope you guys are following that guy. We're going to be talking about a little bit about his book tonight. That's Chasing 50 right here, guys. So I got my copy actually copied. Not copied, but printed, and I made it into a book. You can get yours at ChesapeakeTrilogy.com, and you can download it there and read your own great book, easy read, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Right now, I'd like to say hello to everybody out there. Welcome, guys. What's up? How you doing? I'm super excited. Couple of things to talk about. Next week's giveaway, which is the Christmas giveaway. We do it every year. Next week, that's December 21st, 7 p.m. It's basically a $7,000 giveaway. It's going to be divided into 3 prizes. I'll have that up on Instagram this week, exactly what each prize is going to entail. So make sure you guys go to my Instagram account, top left pinned reel that I have up there. You can enter there. Follow all the rules. And make sure you follow the rules. If anything's wrong on there and you do get your name called, you're going to lose. And you must be on the show. You can't just tag the people and leave and not be seen again. You must be on that show. It's going to be a great show. We're also going to have a party here next week at my house. I got certain subscribers invited over. It's going to be absolutely fantastic food, drinks. I can't wait for that one. I have off all week that week just for this event, this big giveaway we're having. And right, honey, it's going to be fun?
Oh, yeah.
Let's say hello to my wife really quick. Hi, honey. How you doing?
Hello.
Another live stream. Let's be honest. We were kicking each other's ass today, were we? We were kicking each other's ass. We were kicking each other's butts today. This is marriage. This is the good thing, though. We do love each other. And we let bygones be bygones sometimes. You have to keep things going. And we've kept things going for over 30 years. I love her very much. Sometimes I might say the wrong thing. Right, honey?
Oh.
But yeah, well, I don't hear her saying she loves me. But anyway, I love her very much.
Aw,
That's for sure. But anyway, let's say hello to some of the people who are here tonight. Super excited, guys. I see you guys are all here. That's right. All right, Bronx Surfcaster, good to see you, Oscar. Oscar, we got to speak. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Randomly Blind Casting, what's up, brother? Montauk Black Agitator, right, honey? Did I say that right?
No, it's MTK Black, a.k.a. Tiger.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Agitator. All right, I think I made a little bit of a mistake there. But anyway, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. What's up, buddy? Joe Albanese. I know Joe Albanese is now down in the tropics. He's down somewhere in Key West watching the show. Joe, say hello to your lovely wife, and I'll see you guys soon enough. See you soon enough, Joe. We got Deborah on here. Deborah Maldonado, welcome to the show. Good to see you. We got Nicole Gaines. Nicole. Okay, so I got a little bit of a giveaway tonight. I'll show you that right now. So the giveaway tonight is going to be, I got 4 times Mustang hooks. You get 5 in a pack here. Beautiful stuff. You got an SP Minnow. I think you guys will enjoy this one. This one is the Weekend at Bernie's 2. That's what this one is called. It's a floating 6-inch SP there. So we'll give that one away. And also this I've had for a while. It's still in the bag sealed. And it says NBW Boss. That's a 3-ounce bottom swimmer sand deal, he calls it. So that's a bottleneck plug. And I was just saying hello to Nicole. We got two bucktails here. Nicole gave me a bunch of stuff the night of the party, and I told I'd be giving it away slowly. So here it is.
At Montauk.
Nicole's custom bucktails and teasers. There's a phone number and a address on here. We'll leave that down at the end of the show. We'll list that down there, and you can always pick that up. Also, we got West End Fishing Tackle Incorporated. That's Charlie Graves Fishing Laws. Now, this one I like right here. Really nice. It's a tin, but it's painted white. It's got a beautiful long bucktail on there. Good stuff there, Charlie. Love it. That's 2.5 ounce. Let's go. Let's go. It's a J8. And I got a bait fuel saltwater. That's 5-inch saltwater grub. Pink Shine, it's called. It's an 8-count. Some of you guys like going fluke fishing. Some of you guys might want to add these at the end of your bucktail. Whatever you like to do with it, use it. It's for saltwater and looks like good stuff. So that's the giveaway tonight. Nice. Oh, and one more. We got the NLBN. That's the 5-inch paddle tail that I have here. This one right here is called, they call it the 5-inch Hell Yeah Butter paddle tails. Nice. It's 3 in a pack. NLBN. You guys know it. No live bait needed. These are hand poured. Good stuff. Let's go. Let's go. Nice little package here tonight. This totals a nice little bill right there. So good for you guys. And going back, saying hello to everybody. Dame Z, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Say hello to Helen for us. Ange, how you doing? A-N-G-G. Am I saying that right, honey?
What?
It says A-N-G-G, because I know we know an Ange. This is not Ange.
Oh, I think that might be Angelo Gerlunda. I
think. Ange. Angelo, how you doing? I was talking to him early this morning from work. I was talking to him. Also, we got Salt Assassin. How you doing? Jonathan McGrath. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. And anybody else I miss, I'll get you. Rick Talafaro. We got Cosmic Lores on. Who else? If I missed you guys, I'll get you during the show. What else did I want to say? Anything else? Yeah, the giveaway next week. I haven't been fishing the last 2 weeks. I've been really busy. I was supposed to go down this week. I ended up going to the Narragansett Christmas party on Wednesday. I took a drive up there. A wonderful time with the guys. All I can say is...
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce Bain. There he is. How you doing, Bruce? I was there. We had a wonderful time. I have a great time at that party every year. I'm a part of that club. I respect that club very much. Bruce Bain, you do a wonderful job. I know you added another 50 members since you started running it, which is excellent, Bruce. You do a really good job, and your team over there. The party was magnificent. The food was better, brother. I can't begin to tell you. Mike Parrick, how you doing, buddy? Also, the next day I went out to see Gelso Pascarella. That'll be the giveaway. One of the rods, it's like a $1,200 rod. It's custom made. It's in collaboration with GW Customs, Glenn. They both worked on it together, a little bit each on that rod. Really beautiful stuff. I'll have the exact specs for you guys during the week. I'll put it up. It'll be part of the grand prize. That's 1, 2, and 3. It'll be part of number 1. So good to see you. Who else do we got here?
Willie J.
Willie J, how you doing, buddy? And Adventures of Tony Life. What's going on? Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Kevin R, how you doing? Fishing with Gus Official. Yo, Gus. Gus, you're the best. I love Gus. Dominic T, 55. Good to see you. All right. What time do we have exactly?
And John
right
Francisconi.
And how could you not say hello? John Francisconi. We call him the King of the Hudson. You can look him up on Instagram. That is his name. John's been fishing the Hudson for many of years. Great fisherman down there. And what makes him great is his grind. The guy is down there practically every day. He's even down there now fishing for those winter stripers that do come out, those resident fish. And once those waters start to cool off on our shores, we get a couple of stripers here and there. Nice to see you, John. James Flynn, always a pleasure, buddy. Good to see you. So let's start off with the show tonight. We'll get out on Alan Battista, Chasing 50, and I want to read something from you guys. So he's got a book out. You can get that book on Chesapeake Trilogy.com. You can order your own. And there's a little introduction, which I love, and I want to read it to you guys. It says, for striped bass anglers, a fish over 50 inches is the holy grail, the kind of catch we dream about, chase for years, and measure our stories against. I've devoted more than half my life to this pursuit, and along the way, I've learned that a true 50 is far more than just another big striper. It's a milestone, a fish of a lifetime. Let's welcome Alan Battista to the live stream tonight. Welcome, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Mr. P, Mrs. P, thank you very much for having me on the show tonight.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Honored to be here. You've had lots of great guests here. I've seen your podcast in the past, so I appreciate you having me on here. I hope that whatever tip you had earlier in the afternoon here does not impact our performance, for the show, because we got to give your audience, the energy they deserve. All right.
Absolutely, buddy. No worries. And also, I want to mention, there's a shirt I have back here, guys. You see this? It says, earned, not brought. I won that, and I didn't win it in a raffle. Alan likes to give these shirts out to people in the community of fishing who give back. And obviously, Alan's got to learn me. And yes, we do give. And I want to say thank you again, Alan, for that. I'm very proud to have that shirt, and I'm not wearing it because I took it out of the dirty laundry, Alan. That's why I didn't put it on. We got to wash it. So
yeah, let me minute about that shirt. And I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather here.
It's okay.
Got some tea I'm going to sip on. The whole house is sick at the moment, but we're going to fight through. So that shirt there, it's a little bit of a campaign that I've been starting. I think back to the early days, and I happen to be fortunate to start in the striped bass kayaking world on the Chesapeake before, there were really a lot of people doing it. And we all knew each other. It was a very tight-knit community. And I see you doing the same things there. And so I think we identify with each other, trying to build that community, trying to build that. But I think there's something missing across the striped bass world. And it's that sort of leadership. And it's needed for us because we're fighting against, access to the fish. We're fighting against the regulations. We're fighting against everything. And we've got a strong commercial, industry. We've got strong charter boat industries, and they show up to all these meetings. They show up to everything, right? And we can hardly get a room, half room full of people as recreational anglers. So, I think the leadership and bringing this sort of tight knit community together, and we all, sort of talk together and can share sort of the same sort of issues. I think that's good. And then, what that shirt indicates is that, I view you as, a big person in that spot. I take requests. for anybody that they want to send me something, somebody that, you know, I should take note of. And there was a lot of people that sent me your name. And that's really how I kind of got to know you through that. And I said, yeah, you know, this guy's doing the right stuff. I think his heart in the right place. And after talking to you, I know that you're there. So I appreciate that. Wear that shirt with honor, and hopefully it gets a little bit of steam, and, you know, we get there.
If it doesn't have steam, it sure got some steam in my heart right now. I appreciate you saying that. And I like that you said that people called you on that. I try very hard, Alan, and I'm going to keep that up to get that out there. I'm also going to join a couple of, I don't know what you call them. I don't have the card with me to say it correctly, but I'm going to be talking about it on next week's Christmas show for sure. But a couple of, where you said it right, we don't have enough people showing up at these meetings. And I promised myself that I'm going to join these two clubs or memberships that I'm going to, it is. Hey, Bruce, maybe you can help me out. Bruce, you know the one that I went this weekend to the Saltwater Edge? I think it's the AGA or something. I'm not sure. Anglers something. Anyhow, that's what I'm going to be joining, and I'm going to put more of my time into that where it's really needed. And I'm going to do that for 100%. We'll talk about that more next week, but let's get back to Alan again. Again, thank you for that, Alan. That's very nice of you to do. Now, tell me a little bit about that shirt you're wearing right now, or the sweatshirt. Pop that out so we can see that, because I think that's pretty cool. And it says on there,
make your own luck.
There you go, baby. So I like, yeah, go ahead.
Sort of the flagship product of the Chesapeake Trilogy store. I got a little tagline. So if I signed your book, I probably wrote "Make Your Own Luck" in it. And to me, you know, it's something I've lived by for years. And it's whatever you do, just stack the odds in your favor. And, you know, a lot of times that they aren't going to roll your way, but eventually you're gonna come up. So, you know, keep pressing forward, put the odds in your favor, and you're gonna win. So make your own luck. Don't rely on, you know, something to happen for you. Luck always favors the prepared. So yeah, this shirt I got. It was Derek Moore, Low Tide Lumber. I don't know if you know Derek. I think he's out of Maine. Okay. I have watched his art for years. I love his art. He makes some really quirky stuff that I absolutely love. And I said, hey, man, can I commission you to do some art? And I said, I want you to make a cow striper. And the dude, I've got a couple pieces of him. He has hand-drawn, lifelike striped bass pictures hanging on my wall. Right. And they're amazing. But I know you can do it. So he just got all the right details. I mean, we went back and forth, but I think he nailed it. So, yeah, thanks to Derek. Did a great job.
Absolutely. And if they wanted to reach out to him, if it's okay with you, how do they get to him?
Well, if you want the shirt, just go to ChesapeakeTrilogy.com. You can get it there. But if you want his art, he has lots of it. Go to Low Tide Lumber on Instagram, and you'll see all the stuff he's got. Lots of cool stuff.
Low Tide Lumber, honey. Just give that a dot there. Yeah. So, Alan, continuing on the book. So, starting off with the book, I'm not a big book reader, okay? I have a couple of books up here. I read them all. A couple of them I had to read 2 times because I'm just not, I don't identify. I don't want to say I have ADHD, whatever that's called, whatever. I don't. But I do have to read books a couple of times to really get everything ingested. Let's put it that way. But your book, Alan, you did tell me beforehand, you said to me,
it's an easy read.
Yeah, it's an easy read. And I was like, okay, yeah, everybody tells me that, easy reads. But I got your book, and it stood, my wife actually made the copy for me. And when I say copy, she printed it for me after I downloaded it, which is an awesome. And I love the cover too, Alan. Freaking awesome. So basically, I started to read it, and I thought it would take me like, a week, I don't know. And I started reading, and I just kept reading and reading, and I found it very easy, and I was absorbing everything I was reading. For me, that's very good because I like it. When I really like something, I'm absorbing it, and I'll sit there and read it. It almost reminded me, because when people would say to me, yeah, what kind of books did you read? I'd be like, well, Spider-Man, Superman, comic books were my favorite. I was absorbing everything those comics said. I was always interested. Well, I'm not going to say yours is a comic book, but I definitely did find it easy reading. and I loved it. And I'd like to talk about a couple of parts in it, and starting with here right now. Now, ladies and gents, we're not here to tell you every specific detail in the book, but if you find something that we're talking about or that Alan is talking about more in depth, buy your own, all right? Get the book, and I'm sure you're gonna really enjoy it. It says here, I'm going to talk about narrow windows a little bit during the year, and this says here, we only get narrow windows each year, and if you miss them, you wait another 12 months. That scarcity drives the madness. It makes us lose sleep, fish in misery, and sometimes make poor decisions on shore. Tell me a little bit about that narrow window, Alan, please.
Yeah. So, we don't have these fish all the time, especially in the bay. No matter where you are, they're fish, they're kind of on a carousel. They leave the bay, they leave Chesapeake, they come out the ocean, up the coast, up to New England, come back down the fall, they come back in. So we're just getting these fish now. That you may have some tail end of them there, but they're largely down in the bay now. And so you've got this really small time frame that they're even there. Period. End of story. Right. So we're talking about the biggest of the big fish, and so we're only talking about a few year classes that have made it, and those are generally the first ones. So unfortunately, you don't get the heads up that says, "Hey, these things are on the way." You have to really grind it out. You have to fish through some featureless waters. As those patterns are just sort of getting right, that water temperature is sort of coming up, the moon is getting to the right phase, and there's a lot of things that have to line up. And by the weather, the weather has to be just right too. And when you look at the prime days, there's only a handful of them for the whole year. And that's when those big fish really show up. So yeah, the season is a little bit longer, but your window to get those really big fish is short. So it drives this anxiety in, I think, most of us anglers. I mean, I've seen a few guys talk recently that, when the season is here, they can't think about work. They can hardly change their clothes, right? Things go a little bit nuts. I remember it was last season, my wife took the kids for a week, and that was basically free reign for me to do whatever I wanted, right? And it was during the right time of windows. It didn't, in that whole week, I didn't sleep more than 3 consecutive hours, because it was all about getting the right tide at the right location, at the right window. And those kind of go up and down the bay, and there's always some place where you can get them. So you do these ridiculous things just to be able to get on the bite and get those fish while they're here. Because once they're gone, it's over. It's a whole other year, and you're just sitting there thinking about fish the whole rest of it. So it's kind of like a disease. And most people that don't fish, they don't get it. My friends at work and outside of this, industry, they say, so you really just go out there in the freezing cold to catch that fish and let it go. And that makes absolutely no sense to them.
Yeah,
you don't
does it.
No, I want them to come back. So you guys understand, but they don't.
Yeah, Alan, and talking about that window, I know that you put up many nights of the grind, which you just mentioned. You have to, buddy. You have to, because you don't know that exact precise time. You have an idea, and that idea might be a 1 week or maybe even a 2 week, and you have to get out as much as you can in that 1 or 2 week window so you can strike them. And when you just mentioned you didn't get more than 3 hours consecutive sleep, which is a fact. When I go away and I'm on a 5-day trip, the room is the room, and I don't care what kind of room I get, as long as it's got a shower for a couple of days. Once in a couple of days, I take a shower. A lot of the times, Alan, and it's happened that I don't do it, but I'll come in so tired, Alan, that I'll lay on the bed. I'm sorry to say, with my waders and all, but when I wake up, it sure feels good that I don't have to put everything back on again. And I'm right out there fishing. It's the name of the game. It is the grind, and I believe in that very much. One thing that I am very good at, and I will tell you, is grinding. I get out there, and I fish a lot. Most of the times, I'm not going to come home with a fish. I don't come home with a fish, but most of the times, I'm not going to catch that fish. But when you finally get on them, what a feeling of accomplishment. Alan, tell me, what feeling of accomplishment did you have when you caught that first 50?
Oh, the first one, I'll tell you, it's a little bit of a story in there. Man, so my wife isn't going to like this very much, but it was Valentine's Day. It was a Valentine's Day, and the window happened to be that night. And I knew, I'd known because it was the first time this year we're going to have a shot. They were getting bigger and bigger. Almost every fish the previous year was 48 inches, and I knew that there was going to be a couple of 50s that were going to show up. So sure enough, I go out there, and it was February. It was a clear, bone-chilling, cold night, and hooked that fish. And I knew, there was no doubt in me that it was going to happen that night. Hooked that fish, fought it, felt like forever because I knew it was at stake. Landed it, measured it. Said, it finally happened, right? And it was a very mixed emotions sort of day or night. It was right around midnight, 11 o'clock, and it was like, okay, my wife is mad at me because I left her, Valentine's Day night, but I caught this fish that I've been looking for forever. There's no audience there. There's no one cheering. There's no one clapping for you. It was all about, I don't know. It wasn't the moment I hoped, I suppose it would have been, right? So, one of the lessons I talk about there is enjoy every step of it, right? The end is just sort of a conclusion that says, well, you've done it. Like you've sort of mastered something. You've reached some height, but it's not over. You don't just go and sit and twiddle your thumbs and say, well, I'm done fishing now forever. I still want to go after this. So then you say, well, can I get another one? Can I get 10, right? Can I get a dozen, right? Like, can I get a bigger one? So, it kind of goes from there. And so what I'll say to the guys is learn and appreciate the craft and all the grind and everything you've gone through, because it's the work and the effort that really matters. The community, the friends you make along the way. 50 is just another fish story, honestly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love, you have a little clip in your book. It says, the takeaway. And guys, I'm going to mention again, his book. It's got lots of pictures in this. So for you easy readers, man, are you going to love it. I love the pictures, Alan. The fish are absolutely dynamic in here. I'm not going to show them here. You'll have to get that on your own, guys. But the takeaway you talk about, and you say, timing is everything. These giants are on the move. Miss the window, and you'll be waiting another year. Fact on that. Also, I have here, I like this part. You had wrote number 2, big waves. There's no indication saying the cows are here. One day they just show up, and if you weren't on the water for those 1 or 2 magical days, you'll miss them. That's why I spend lots of time fishing on empty water, grinding through the fishless days. It's the price of admission. Very nice, Alan. I love that part. It says also the takeaways, the big cows lead the pack. Be early, grind through empty days, and be ready when the wave finally breaks. So you say here, the big cows lead the pack. Tell me a little bit about that, Alan, please.
Yeah, the big fish always show up first. In fact, they're here and they're gone before most people even realize. And like I said, I fish the featureless, not the features. I fish featured water, but I fish fishless water for some period of time because you're waiting for them to show up, right? And through the years, you understand the patterns, you understand the rhythms, and you know about when they're going to be there, but you don't want to be late, so you fish early. And the good news of that is there's no competition out there. So, you're either chasing the fish, you're chasing a report. If you're not first, you're sort of last. So I'd rather be getting skunked early in the season before the fish are actually there than after, everyone's already found out that the fish are there. And yeah, when they show up, nobody says a word because they know this, they know the deal.
Yeah.
Once you hear about it, they're gone. Right.
I was waiting to mention that, Alan, that's so important because, listen, guys, all of you out there, including myself, once you hear the bite is hot and you're ripping in your car and you're all happy, know this, there's a good chance you're not going to, you might catch fish. They still might be there the next day, but the early ones, say bye-bye. That you missed that window, go find them somewhere else. But other than that, that was so true on what you said, Alan.
Yeah, your buddies are out there, they're fishing, they're catching fish. When they stop catching fish, then they tell you because they don't want to grind through it. They just want to see if you can go catch one, and then they'll go back out again.
Yes, there you go. And you also mentioned, and this isn't a bad thing, guys, if you're serious about catching that big fish, He writes about this in his book more in detail. You like going fishing with buddies? That's great. I love going fishing with buddies too. But if you actually sit back and you think about it, there isn't a lot of 50s roaming around out there. 50s might be in singles, maybe a couple here and there. But if you bring a buddy with you, let's be honest, you're going to cut down your chances because I don't think both of you are going to catch a 50. You could, but the chances are that one of you are. So you just cut your chances in half of catching that big fish. So tell me a little bit about that part, Alan. How do you do that? How do you just say, I'm going alone, or somebody calls you like me, Alan, can I go fishing with you? And you know that window's that night. Tell me how that is, Alan.
Yeah, well, yeah, I tend to be a little antisocial when I'm fishing, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm very stubborn. I have particular things that I do. I really don't want anybody else's impact. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm doing, and I just want to execute to that, to be honest with you. So I just don't like the interference. I get enough people that follow me, that stalk me, and whatever else. Try to lay low and get out there. What else?
No, it's the name of the game. Like you said, you're out there, you're fishing, you're going for the big fish, you're alone. Here you are, you're catching a couple of nice-sized fish. Here come the boats. Your friends are calling you. But I understand when you say to me, you tend to be a little antisocial, and you're not the only one. Good fishermen really, I'm not going to say good, because a lot of good fishermen, but a lot of guys, even women, you know, they are antisocial for a reason, man. They want to make sure that they have that shot at the 50.
And the other thing is, you know, I go at a moment's notice, and I'm fortunate to have some of the flexibility I need at work. And if I get a window where the wind lays down for, you know, an hour or two, if it's in the middle of the night, I mean, it's crazy. Throughout the whole fishing season, I wake up with that, you know, throughout the middle of the night, I check conditions, I check water temperatures, I check, you know, tides. And if there's a window that lines up, you know, I'm probably making a run somewhere. And you know, I guess we could talk a little bit about water safety. And so I've got a dry suit kind of sitting here behind me.
Yep.
Because when these big fish are here in the Chesapeake, it's the coldest time of year. We're talking January, February, March, right? So, you know, daytime temperatures, you know, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, water temperatures like just hovering around 40, if that. A lot of times there's ice around. So, you know, going out alone isn't always the most, you know, wise thing, but I try to minimize the risk with the PFDs, with the vests, and with the EPIRBs. And there's a lot of guys out there that do the same thing, that don't have that. And I try to educate and say, hey, you know, you really need to get these kind of things because you don't have, you know, good odds if you go in the water. And, you know, I look back at pictures, you know, 20 years or so ago when I started doing this, and I wasn't educated. I mean, there weren't guys out there that were doing it, period. So there wasn't really a whole lot of people to educate you anyway. But I cringe at what I look at, what I was wearing, how I was prepared. I wasn't. I really didn't know what I was getting into. And so I realized that these guys don't either. So, you know, when I see it online, I might send them a message, and I try not to be, you know, come over the top, but say, hey, man, I care about you. I care about what you're doing. You know, you really should have these kind of things. You know, it's your own call, but, you know, truly, yeah, I want you to be safe. So we do run some risks there, especially out there in, you know, Tupperware boats, really. I mean, even though they cost like a car these days, you know, they're still plastic and anything can happen. So
I understand that. And I also carry a vest with me. Sometimes I'll go to my to the lighthouse at night. I was with my buddy Rick there, and I put on a life jacket, brother. It's called the brand is called Mustang. I don't know if you know it, but it also has a pull where it releases the I don't know what it is, nitrogen, whatever it is in there, and just fills it up really quick for an extra added amount. But I wear it because I'm scared on the rocks out there. If you get hit with the rocks and you fall out there and you're not wearing, you know, I am wearing waders, but, you know, those things are going to get quickly filled. And I'm not worried about the water temperature so much when I go, but I'm worried about drowning. So, yes, it's very important for me to wear a life vest. Alan, I want to move a little forward here, and I'm going to read another part in your book. These are little clips, guys, that I just use as notes. Again, you can pick up the book. Pick it up, guys. Trust me, it's an easy read. By the end of the day, you'll be done with it, and you'll be glad. You'll be like, Mr. Poseidon did me right, but Chesapeake Trilogy did me better by writing the book. Get the book. It's a nice book to read, and I'm not just saying it's a book to get because Alan is on. It's a great book. Trust me. So on this clip, it says, we're going to talk about current here. So it says, striped bass are current junkies, especially in the spring. They use it to navigate. They stick to areas where water is funneled, squeezed, and accelerated. Now, that reminds me of a time, not of a time. I've gone out with, Bill Wetzel. He's a guide out in Montauk. He's probably the best guide out in Montauk. And I have to tell you that I was up on the hill with him, and this is exactly what he said. We were in an area, I think it was Turtle Cove. He was showing me, and it was an area where he was saying, if you got east winds and they're pushing that way, it'll curl in and then it'll just shoot out like a spout, and the fish are waiting right there. Let's talk about current and these fish following and what they like. Tell me, Alan.
Exactly right. I mean, you put it perfectly there. There are situations that create sort of the buffet line, and so that is one of them. You get a certain wind and a certain tide, and those winds and tides one spot can be good at one condition, and another spot be good at a different condition, and so you kind of catalog your spots in your mind over different conditions, and that no matter what Mother Nature gives you, you got something to you can follow up on. So stripers are current junkies. That's what I say. And so current plus structure plus bait, you're going to find fish. They're going to be there, and you have to know what the bait is that you're looking for and where they're going to be. Your bait is different than my bait. The bait that we have here in the bay is largely peanut bunker right now. Now that is the peanut bunker is basically pulling out of the tributaries at the moment. So water's getting cooler. They're coming out of tributaries. They are entering the main stem of the bay, and they're kind of leaving with the residents down south. And then the migrants are coming in. There's sort of this like apocalyptic battle that occurs like right at the mouth of the Potomac, Chesapeake Bay. So big masses of body water coming there, and so they're catching big fish. They're catching residents there right now. But so that's the peanut bunker. In the spring, though, over the late winter, when we're really trying to get those big fish, you're talking herring, you're talking gizzard shad. The gizzard shad are really big ones that I'll say. So anytime where you find a path where those fish are going to migrate up through, and those are a lot easier. The bait is a lot easier to find than the big stripers are, right? Because the big baits and big stuff like that. So you find that bait, and then you find, the current with the structure, fish that, right? Like that. Now you're narrowing in and narrowing in and narrowing in. The gizzard shad have a pretty large signature on, say, like on side imaging on sonar, and I know a lot of your audience may not have have that obviously from the shore, but it's something, and I'll talk about water temperature a little bit too. So a lot of guys said, well, these fish go dormant in the wintertime, and there's no use even trying to target them. And largely what they were seeing was signatures of gizzard shad. They were fishing for gizzard shad, not knowing that they were gizzard shad. They thought they were stripers. So there's certain techniques you can use. I call it, the winter stall, just sort of pausing the bait. They want something really slow, almost not even moving, but a little bit of jerk here and there. So you may have to adjust some techniques to get it just right. But if you find that you find those current junkies, they'll be there. But you might have to adjust your techniques just a little bit to get them to bite. They can be a little bit harder when the water's cold.
Right. Alan, here you have in your book some clips, what you basically just said. Now, here's the rule. Don't waste time fishing featureless water. After what he just said and with a little bit of what I said, you guys should understand that. And one of my favorite parts here in the book, it says, what makes those spots? Anything that breaks the current, creates ambush points, rocks, tufts, trouts, weed lines, channel edges, anything that gives a big striper a place to stage, hide, and wait for the bait to funnel by. That's where you'll find multiple fish lined up like customers at the buffet line. Very nicely said, instead of just hoping to bump into one cruising by. Fact. Everything you just said right now is a fact. You've got to find those ambush points. I know Bill Jacob likes to call it the intersecting point where they are. Everybody has a little different name. You like to call it the buffet line, which I like that one too. But let's continue on here. I know there's so much we can talk about forever, but there's a part here where it says, Alan, is it okay to mention your biggest court?
Yeah, sure.
Great. So there's a picture in, and again, guys, you want the picture, get the book. This is one of my biggest to date. It's 52 inches times 32 inches. Man, what a girth. I don't weigh fish, but the weight calculator put it at 67 pounds, Alan. People are, saying, well, I'll never get a 60. You almost hit 70. And we know stripers to have known to be over 100 pounds. I don't know if anybody's ever actually caught one, but 67 pounds is big, Alan. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, they caught a 100-pounder in the bay.
Oh, they
right?
did? Tell me about that. Tell me.
Yeah, so it wasn't a commercial net. It wasn't an angler that caught it. It ended up in it might have been in Surrey net, a DNR net. I can't remember the details.
Right.
But yeah, that pounder was in the bay, and they can get that big. They just
amazing, man.
They haven't lived long enough to get there.
Right.
That particular fish was it's kind of funny because again, it was a window. It was a window that I went after that I had been waiting for to occur. And it happened once or twice that year. Actually, it happened twice that year. And so the second one, I don't know if it was a 50, but it was pretty close.
Right.
And it was almost to the 5-minute window that I thought it might have hit. Right. Wow. So, caught that fish. In fact, let's see. I caught 3 this year. There might have been 4 the year before and 5 the year before that. So actually, the numbers are declining. And I'll put the odds for about lately for every 100 fish that I've caught over like 40 inches, about 3 of them have been 50 or better. So that's kind of the odds at it. You have to catch 140-inch fish to catch a few 50s right now. And each year is a little bit different. 20 years ago, you might have had to catch 1,000 to catch that many. But sure. On this particular night, it was kind of unbelievable. I was using one of these jointed bombers. It was kind of just like a real still sort of situation. So I like something that gives a little bit of extra wobble, a little bit of sway. Mm-hmm. And, that fish hit. And I knew right away it was a really big one. It was, when they come right to the surface and start splashing around, you kind of know what you're dealing with. So I got the fish in, and I actually threw my back out lifting it for that photo, which was crazy. So I felt my back give away. I got it right back in the water. I was in so much pain, I actually threw up. As it turned out.
Oh my goodness. So, Alan, I just want to say really quick, guys, get the book. You're never going to see a picture like that. And at the same time, one of the biggest smiles you'll ever see. Continue, Alan.
Yeah. So it was a pretty rough night as a result of that. And then my back was hurting for a few days. And then I found a way to go fishing the next night or the next morning or whatever it was, even as the situation was. But yeah, we get narrow windows. We make the best we can. Again, it was, no one was there. Just kind of one of those memories in the back of your mind that there's no trophies or anything like that. But I retire those lures. I hang them on my wall, and then I just think about those memories, from time to time.
Awesome. Let's keep moving. Like I said, we can talk about one subject because I have so many things written here. I mean, I don't want to just stick with something. We don't have all night. We're at 8 o'clock already, just about 8. But I want to continue here. It says, for example, I've targeted areas that are almost unfishable and borderline unsafe during the full and new moon phases. Can you tell me a little bit about that, Alan?
Yeah, there's some areas that the tidal influence is pretty incredible. And so, with the outgoing, it turns from basically still water to raging waters. And so that's a great situation. That's an ambush situation. I mean, the bigger the tidal swings, the better your odds you're going to have. And so you get all these unprepared bait fish that gets washed down, but your predators, your big striped bass, they know where to hang out. And so look for something like a bridge pylon, look something for like a boulder or a point is really good. Anything that breaks the current. That big striper is just hanging in there. And don't work your lure too much. Just let it kind of hang. Let it just be, gentle. Let it be natural, fighting the current.
Yep.
And you can feel it. Like you can feel the void in that current. Your line goes from being pulled snugly and it just kind of stops there. And you say, well, that's the bullseye, that spot right there. Do not forget that. Keep hitting that and hitting that and hitting that. And that's where those borderline unfishable situations come fishable.
Yeah. Also, what you're talking about, a few years ago, Marone Saxatilis, I don't know if you heard of him online. You should know him. Yeah. He had won the Bill Wetzel tournament at yeah, so he was telling me, no, I know. He was telling me where he knew there was a point in the rock where he was trying to reach, and he knew that void was there. And all the water, he was telling me in a way, was swirling, and that point where his lure was, he knew that's where they were hanging out. He told me, Eric, I knew they were there. Or he was there, and he bombed a 51-pounder there and won the tournament with that. When you put everything, all your knowledge together, not just Alan, guys, I'm talking about everyone here. You don't have to have all the knowledge in the world. Just understand these small little simple facts that Alan is telling you, and you too will have a good chance at catching a nice sized fish. We have some questions coming in.
Questions.
Comments. You want to read one of them?
Paul Chapman saying, Alan, been watching you for a long time. Nothing but respect.
Yeah, Paul Chapman, by the way, is he's won 20 tournaments in his life. He also won this year's Battle of the Surf Rats Ball tournament. Again, the Bill Wetzel tournament. Great surf fisherman in that tournament, by the way. He won this year, and Paul Chapman was also saying the same thing. Same thing to me. The guy knows how to fish it. He's always telling me current. Look for areas where the water just shoots out, spouts out. That's where they'll be hiding. That's where they'll be waiting. Certain points where there's breaks in that water that's moving. That's where they'll be waiting. And no doubt about it, Alan, you're saying the exact same thing other good fishermen say. Go ahead.
So you mentioned you don't need to have all the knowledge in the world to go catch these big fish, and I completely agree. I put a picture up on my Instagram yesterday, and I just took a picture of my bookshelf, right? And I've got a few dozen books out there of striped bass fishing and that kind of stuff. Lots and lots of information, and you can go down so far detailed over their site and the rods and the cones and how they smell and how they navigate. You can go through all of this, right? But when it boils down to it, there's only a few things that really matter to help you try to catch these fish, right? It's the current, it's the structure, and it's the bait. And then the rest is presentation and learning how to present it in the right way. That's really what you need to know. The rest is fluff, it's interest, it's historic, but get those things down and you catch fish.
Absolutely. Also, Beast River Fishing, probably one of the best fishermen in Manhattan. A big grinder. It's look, in Manhattan, people hear, oh, you catch big fish. I've gone fishing with Beast River a few times. It is very, very difficult fishing. It's almost like sort of like bridge fishing, certain areas they go to. You're not sitting there comfortable just hanging over the edge. You got your arms in the air, or you're trying to tiptoe on the edge of the ledge, trying to get over it. And when it comes time to actually reel in the fish, you have to be prepared. They throw down nets, which they put the fish over, and then they bring it up. They give it a quick length, and then they release the fish. So Beast River says here, I definitely threw up and took my back out several times, so I know what he's talking about.
Hey, Beast, how's it going, man? I got respect for the guy, too. I mean, fish in those waters, we just talked about treacherous currents and all that. I mean, those currents up there are insane. And, you mentioned it. You mentioned some of the tactics they have with the nets and everything. Everywhere up and down the coast, there's guys that just impress me with their knowledge of their fishery, right. How we catch the same fish. To me, this is, some of the coolest, just the communication is really cool, how everyone catches these things differently. I really wish we had sort of like this, striped bass museum. I think we really should have one of these things that
I like that.
Guys, and through the years and all that, different lures. I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, I love seeing and hearing stories like that from up and down the coast.
Alan, you just set a light bulb off. Yes. the museum buddy. So now we're going to have a debate or even a vote one day when it finally goes up. Who's going to get that statue in front of the museum holding that big striped bass? No, we're not going to talk about that tonight.
All right.
It'll come soon enough if we get to that point. Most of the good fishermen that I fish with or talk with, every one of them says the same thing. It's everything you say plus the grind. And I think the grind is the most important thing. You've brought it up earlier. You know, you're out there fishing when they're not out there. Nobody's out there because you know that window can happen any second now, any day. And you're out there and you're working it. And obviously when it does happen, you say that the bigger fish come by first, and then the rest of everybody else hears about it like me. Get that phone call. They're there. They're here. Let's go. And we're out there and we get out.
I think they come in year classes. If you know, so I take notes, right? And you know, one day you'll catch 48s, the next day you'll catch 46s, and then sometimes you won't catch any for a couple of days, and you'll say, "What happened?" Right? And then you'll catch 36s or 38s, and it's almost like those are the missing year classes that didn't come through. You know, so when you're fishing every day, when you're on the pattern, you have a pretty good idea that you know you're going to catch something. You're onto something, but sometimes they don't show. And yeah, so those big fish come first, and sometimes you miss those, and you're catching the 38s rather than the 48s. And I think they kind of go by year class.
There you go. We get different schools of fish coming by now. The older days, they just used to come in, the big swarm of fish, and come by. Now they come by in groups. Now I don't know if that's because there's less fish or you know it is because there's less fish. Alan, tell me a little bit about that in the Chesapeake. What do you see that as going on with the population of the actual striped bass? Because you've been fishing a long time.
Yeah, so I think there's a few ways to take that conversation. Yeah, there seems to be less fish in some regards. In some regards, there seem to be like some more fish here and there. You know, you mentioned, I can't remember if it was earlier here or when we were talking earlier, but you used to be able to go and say, well, the fish are going to be on this spot in this time, or they're going to be here, or they're going to be there. And I think what we see when we find sort of a lack of fish is there are not as many places, right? So, you know, when there's a lot of fish, there's competition for those prime locations, and they can only feed so many of those stripers, and so then they filter out to the secondary locations and the third and the tertiary locations that more and more people have access to. So the more people can be successful catching striped bass, the more there are. Obviously, that stands to reason, but the less and less in the population as they shrink, they kind of narrow into where they're gonna stage and where they're gonna hang out. The patterns become a little bit more tight. So we see that here in the Chesapeake Bay, you know, particularly in the summer and late spring seasons when it's all residential fish. And so we have a few things that are issues. One is you know, environmental. So we've got, you know, fresh water coming from the mouth of the bay. Sorry, not the mouth, the head of the bay, right? Salt water at the mouth of the bay. And it creates, you know, there's some sort of like in between where those fish want to hang out. And then you've got very high temperature waters at the surface. And then you've got deoxygenated water at the bottom. You've got lots of dead zones. So it kind of squeezes these fish into a very narrow biomass where they can survive. And so they're just not as many places as they should be. And so that biomass has kind of shifted around through the years. 20 years ago, they might have been at the gas docks, and then they moved up to Chesapeake Beach, and then they moved up to the Bay Bridge, and then they moved off to Love Point, the Hodges Bar, Patapsco River, Pools Island. So they kind of keep meandering north with the environmental conditions, and they get hammered. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, almost the entire biomass in the bay is in like a very tight area, and you'll get like hundreds of boats on them every day, and it really decimates them. So it's nicer when there's more fish, they spread out, but you know, where they're consolidated, it really puts a hammering on them. So we'll see. We've got some shifting regulations, and we've got a very narrow slot now. So we'll see. I think maybe it's been doing some help. You know, if I'm looking at the fishing reports lately, a lot of guys are catching those resident fish, and it's going to leave a lot of those fish that are going to be able to get bigger and spawn later in life. So we'll see. I don't know that anybody knows what they're doing, to be honest with you, but they're doing the best they can.
I see here Unfiltered Fishing. It says every area within an area has its own technique during the different times in the season, and pound the heck out of your local areas. Without a doubt, guys, Charlie, the Wolf of Rhode Island, rest in peace. Charlie was very adamant on always yelling at me and telling me, know your area first. Know your area first. And when you do, and you're ready to move on or not move on, or you're fishing in a different area, apply the same things that you did in your area in that area, and you start to learn that area. So, yeah, with the fish, it takes work, Alan. It really does. And it does take knowledge also. It's not just about the grind. Like, I like to say that a lot. It's good to get out, but it sure helps when you're out there to have a little bit of knowledge of where to look for these fish or where to go to have your best odds. That's why we talk about the moons, the tides, the currents. These are all very important things to help everyone become a better surf fisherman, whether you're in a kayak or you're fishing off of rocks or sandy beaches. Alan, I wanted to mention, a lot of guys think that you're only in the kayak fishing all the time, which I learned from you, that's not always the truth. Maybe you want to tell it more in a little bit of detail. You go to certain areas where the surf fishermen, for instance, can't get to. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I guess my style is a little unique, and it's adapted over the years. But I'll fish from. I've got a few different vessels, right? I used to have a boat. I started in a boat, and turns out boating gets very expensive very quickly, right? But
yes,
the way I wanted to. So I got into kayak fishing, and that was kind of defined my future a little bit. But I was never tied to anything. I didn't have to identify as a kayak fisherman. I didn't have to identify as a boat fisherman. I just wanted to identify as a fisherman. I just want to catch striped bass. And the pursuit of them was just more interesting than anything else. So wherever the fish would go, I would go. And so I even got what you call solo skiff. Solo skiff is kind of like a kayak on steroids. You can put a gas motor on it.
Yes.
More frequently, I actually run an electric motor. It just gives me a little bit more room. So I'll fish from a boat. I'll fish from a kayak. I'll fish from a skiff. I'll fish from shore. You name it. If the fish are there, I want to do it. From shore, from kayak or from shore is the most rewarding. It's the most exciting kind of thing. I love fishing from a boat, but it's not the same kind of rush. It's much different than
Sure.
than the intimate battle that we have at close quarters. In fact, kayak fishing is a pretty close quarters battle because you hook the fish, it pulls you around,
Wow.
but you fight it very close because you kind of reel yourself to it fast. And the whole battle occurs within like 10 or 15 feet of you. And it's kind of an amazing, exciting sort of battle. So when I'm out there, I'll get in the kayak and, usually the kayak is with me one way or the other, no matter what I'm doing, the kayak is with me. So I'll drag it, down a trail, I'll drag it off the boat ramp, wherever. Like it's very portable. And so a lot of times, these places are not accessible. The Chesapeake has very limited accessibility, to be honest with you, as far as ramp locations go, as far as any kind of shoreline access goes, as far as beaches. There's very limited, but these spots are up and down the bay. I mean, I drew maps. You saw them.
Yeah, I saw them.
You can go to all those spots. You can kind of hop out of your kayak and start fishing them. You're just looking for the current, and current is kind of hard to deal with in a kayak because it wants to spin you around or it wants to like move you.
Yeah.
So easier if you can just to kind of hop out and start casting. And and even there's like sandbars. There's all kind of stuff that people just don't know about. You can get off the beach. Now you're 300 yards out. You're standing in 2 feet of water, but you had to go through 12 foot of water to get there. So there's a lot of different situations like that. That the kayak opens up, different islands you can go to, because anything that intersects the water is a chance to create a rip, is a chance to create, one of those buffet lines. So a little bit of a unique experience, and as a result, I don't fish with the big rods that a lot of guys do. I fish with very, they're very light, very sensitive, but have plenty of backbone to reel in a big fish without any problem.
Mm.
I'm very particular about the sensitivity. I want to feel every wobble of that lure. I want to be able to feel the paddle tail, swim in there. and I want to be able to feel when I'm touching bottom. I want to feel if a fish swims by or if I bump a gizzard shad. All those senses are very important to me. So, yeah, a little bit of a different take on the fishing, but it's more about the striped bass than it is about any particular method.
Wow, that's really you got me hooked like twice. I'm listening. I read the book and now I'm hearing it from you. It's really nice to hear these things. You are a part surf fisherman in a way, buddy. When you get down to those waters and you hop out of your kayak, yeah, you're doing it. And while you were telling me those stories of being in your kayak, I can't even imagine, being in the kayak, catching a 50-pound fish. How the heck? This has to be balance involved where you're leaning one way and pulling the fish up in order not to flip the canoe. Now, have you ever flipped it? Or your kayak, excuse me.
No, I have not. And that was that was a very popular question, back in the day, 20 years ago, because guys would see me out in the middle of the bay and they would say, "Are you okay?" They'd stop and check on me because they'd never seen anyone do this. It always led to a lot of conversation. They always said, "Well, have you ever flipped out there?" Well, fortunately, no. I will say though, the very first 50 I ever caught, and I called it a 48 for a lot of years because I didn't want to take credit for it because I didn't have, but I have that all on video. And the first time I was trying to get it in, wow. I almost did roll. That was very close. And it was just trying to get in. But in general, the kayak is pretty close to the surface of the water. So you just kind of get it and slide it in. It's not not feel, but you got to keep your body over center,
Right. Don Mazie is on right now. Don Mazie I fish with. He's down in Jersey. I think he's from the Philadelphia area, and he comes up to Jersey, fishes real hard. He's a really good fisherman. I was down there with him in the last run. He got himself a nice 25-pound bass. I was there with him. Beautiful fish, by the way, Don. He says, kayak guys are nuts. Between the drunks and the jet skis, I'd be terrified.
We are. You never really know if people see you, if they don't see you. I hear you.
Yeah. Also, I like to say hello to Big Sis of Wolf. Guys, that's Charlie the Wolf of Rhode Island, sister. Charlie the Wolf. Rest in peace, my brother. I've gone fishing with him quite a few times. I like to mention him during the show out of big-time respect. He's one of the best fishermen I ever fished with. He really knew his game, and he was, you think, when you say you're, what was the word you used earlier, honey, or the word you used, Alan, when you said you're not really, I don't want to say not friendly of a fisherman when you're fishing.
Like antisocial?
Yeah, that's the way Charlie was. And I remember Charlie, Bruce Bain, he was on here earlier, maybe he's still on, but I was fishing with Bruce, and Charlie had given us specific directions. Don't start fishing until I get there. It wasn't that Charlie was afraid we were going to get a bigger fish than him. He was afraid that we were going to spook the fish. And I remember Bruce is on a couple of fish, and he's catching, and we're having a good time. And all of a sudden, from about 100 yards away, I'm hearing, "You assholes, you idiots." So we look over, and we're like, oh, boy, we're dead right now. Here comes Charlie. "What are you doing? You're going to spook the fish. Wait, don't talk. Don't say no, don't." He started yelling at me. "Turn your freaking light off and take this rock and crack it over your head." It's just the way he was. He wouldn't really do that, but, he was trying to make me understand. And after we were done fishing that night, he did mention to me, he said, "Eric, come over." He goes, "You know why I keep telling you to not put on your light?" He goes, he pointed down to a jetty down there, and there's a bunch of lights going on and off. They're all down there fishing. He goes, "If you keep popping your light on and off," now everybody knows this, eventually those guys down there are going to be, they're catching fish over there. Let's go over there. And he was very, very adamant like that. That guy can do everything in a pitch black room. Charlie, God bless you. Rest in peace, my brother. I love you. I'll never forget you, my man. But that's some of the game, and you have to be a little strict sometimes if you want to catch the big fish. We're going to take a 1-minute break here, guys. Tonight's giveaway. Let me put the overhead on. Here's the giveaway again tonight. We're going to ask a question. If you've been listening carefully, you'll be able to answer that. You always have to be first to answer. I don't care what it comes up on your computer, and this is where I get a little adamant. I don't care what it comes up in your. It's what comes up on mine. Who's ever first on mine with the correct answer wins the prize. So we got Charlie's Graves Fishing Lures. That's West End Fishing Tackle Company. We also have this beautiful bottleneck here, nice size, 3-ounce bottom swimmer sand deal. It's called the NB Wood or the NBW 3 Boss. And then we have an SP minnow here. I know Alan likes to fish with SP minnows. He showed me one earlier, and I'm like, I got this one too. So anyway, that's tonight. And we got a 4 times Mustang hook for you guys that like to change your hooks. They come 5 in a pack. These are really good. The 4 timers, we got NLB. No live bait needed. 5-inch paddle tails. They come 3 in a pack. And then we have Bait Fuel saltwater grub. Pink Shine, it's called. So that's tonight's giveaway. Also, let me not forget, we have Nicole's Custom Bucktails and Teasers. Tonight we're going to be giving away 2 3/4-ounce bucktails. One might feel like a 1 ounce, actually, but it's right there. Yeah, I'm right. It is. It's 1 ounce and a 3/4-ounce bucktail. So that's the whole thing. One guy's going to win that. That's about $1 right there. Going back to Alan once again, I want to slowly finish this off. And the book doesn't go that fast, guys. I just mentioned a few things. I want to talk about water temperature, Alan. Tell me about water temperature and what you think about that, because I speak to many people and they're like, it's too cold out. I'm like, well, what's the water temperature like by you? And when they tell me the temperature, I'm like, no, because I like to fish a river. I'm not going to mention the names. You know, people trust me when they bring me to certain areas and they ask me, please. And I'm very good at that. If I make a video, probably going to tell you the fish is caught in New Jersey. I get 2 types of fishermen calling me. One is like, we're in New Jersey. And the other guy's like, stop the bullshit. Where are you catching the fish? So there's 2 types of fishermen. But I do go fishing in the winter, in January, February. I'll be there again this year. And the waters are actually very cold. The fish are lethargic, but there are those nights where they are hungry and they will attack the bait. Tell me a little bit about water temperature, Alan, and what goes through your mind. And before we talk about that, we do take donations on this channel through our, what is it called, honey?
Super Chats.
Yeah, Super Chats. I'd like to thank John McCoy. Thank you for that so much. $20, John. That means absolutely the world to us. I don't care if you donate $1. I am a happy camper, and I hope you guys help us out. We really need the help all the time. I don't use this money for anything for our enjoyment. At the end of the year, which comes October, I like to say, is my competitions, and we like to take that money and put it towards the money of the competition. Last year, we raised $4,800 in 1 year. I added $200, and I was able to put that for the first prize of $5,000. So that's all because of you guys. It's always because of you guys. It's never about Mr. Poseidon. Please, many of you guys know me very well, and you know that's a fact. And there's other people think I make money. Keep dreaming. I put in $50,000 into this channel since the day I started. And no, I'm not telling you because I'm sad or I didn't want to do it. We've never had any kids. When I started this, I didn't think it would get to this point, but I consider all of you guys my kids. And if I had kids, trust me, they would get the best. And that's why I've given away up to over 50 van stalls. We'll hit 55 next Sunday, guys. It's all for you guys always, and never forget that. So going back to Alan and water temperatures, Alan.
So, geez, I'll tell you what, if you want to start,
Yeah.
if you want to be a billionaire as a fisherman, start as a, if you want to be a millionaire, start as a billionaire. That's kind of how
That's a fact.
So actually, water temperatures is a super interesting subject, and probably a little more nuanced than most people realize. But in general, I'll start with the basics. And there's a water temperature at which they feel comfortable and they kind of want to exist. And I believe that, they don't want to get stuck in the ice or anything like that. So there's a water temperature, and I put that at 40 degrees. Some people like 45, they like 52, whatever it is. It's 40 degrees. 40 degrees is when they will move into an area and be happy to exist. 42 is better, but 40 is like the bare minimum, right? And there's exceptions to this, because sometimes people say, well, I caught him in this, I caught him in that. Now, a lot of those exceptions there's a couple of them. One is if you're fishing deep water. So in January, a lot of times I'm fishing in 50 foot of water, and right at the bottom of the channel edge, and they'll kind of hang there, and you have to do some particular things to get them to bite, but they will bite. There was this one time I saw a guy, he was out there in January, and he caught a pretty decent sized fish, and he wasn't far from where I could see him where he was. And a buddy of mine asked him what he was using, and he was using like a plug, not a jig. And I knew the best case scenario, that thing only went maybe 10 feet. And you know, it was kind of that moment. It turned the lights on a little bit as far as what was going on there. And I was able to replicate that there ever after. And the lesson there is the water temperature up surface obviously is cooler than what's below. So it might be less than 40 on the surface. Down below, it might be, I don't know, might be 5 degrees warmer than that, you know, 50 feet down. Those fish will come up into the shallows to feed, and they'll go back down. And there's a window. They'll come up and they'll go back down. And if you can catch that window, you know, that water temperature does matter, but they'll evacuate quickly because it's just an easier meal to get. A lot of those bait fish goes in the shallows. So the other thing I'll mention is this warm water discharges, and those are going to be pretty popular this year. You can look out your window, you can see a lot of snow. That snow is going to keep the water temperatures pretty darn cold. And so those fish are going to coalesce at those warm water discharges, which are, you know, 5-6 degrees warmer. I was fishing around one of those, you know, many years ago, say 10, 15 years ago. And, you know, I stumbled upon something that most people, you know, would have said or did say at that time was heresy. And and it's all a result of when you're in a kayak, you're usually dragging a lure behind you. You're usually trolling a lure. So you kind of like, you're fishing while you're not really fishing. You're just moving. And son of a gun, my rod goes down in 33 degrees of water, just a hair over freezing. So that's odd, right? Turn around, make a cast, hook another one. It's like, wow, all right, 2 for 2. And then I'm cranking, and I'm ripping it, right? I'm ripping it in 33-degree water, and one or the other, they're just hammering it. And you know, it was that point I realized, well, they'll come out of that warm water discharge and jet over. They'll get a quick meal if there's food there, if there's bait there, and they'll just head back. So pretty interesting. Water. Am I still there? All right. Yes, sorry, the screen for a second. So yeah, the water temperature matters. It sort of acts like a fence, but it's kind of like a little bit of a flexible fence, if you will, right? Now, I wouldn't fish, you know, I wouldn't try to fish below, you know, those temperatures. I would move to the areas of the bay where the better odds are. But nothing in fishing is absolute. So just keep that in mind too.
Thank you for that, Alan. And I'm going to mention, so I worked at the World Trade Center, and we use water from the river. It was a Japanese guy that invented it when the first towers were first going up. He said, instead of using city water and having to cool it down 10 more degrees, we can save that and we can use the salt water. Sure, there is a lot of maintenance in that. Inside the pipes, we used to go 66-inch round pipes. That used to be the intakes. You know, same thing like on a boat, cleaning barnacles off and just making sure that everything. We used to put zinc bars on the side to attract the salt to it and not, have it go all the way through. Used to change that yearly, but that's not the thing I want to talk about. So we had 7 huge pumps down there that would intake this water. Those 7 pumps were 2-story size pumps. They were huge. So those things leave off heat. They would come into these huge tanks. They used to open up like a sluiceway door gate, and then we had 2. One would be in operation, one would be under repair or maintenance. When these doors used to open, these striped bass used to live inside. We had one guy from our crew that would go fishing inside the sluiceway. We had an open hole, like if you give you guys an example in the submarine, what was that? There was a show where it was underwater, and they used to open up a hatch, and they used to dive into the water from inside underwater. So that's what we had there. And there was a guy there constantly was catching striped bass. Well, we had to be very careful because when it came time for maintenance season, the EPA was there. They were very strict. And what we had to do was we couldn't empty out this sluiceway box, They was huge. It's a huge, gigantic room, maybe 50 yards in diameter all around. And we would bring down the water down to 2 feet. And what we'd have to do is we'd have to go down there. We'd have these big crates, and we would send them down in a crane. And in these crates, you won't believe what I'm going to tell you, I was putting trophy striped bass down in there. And we would, put them in. And I'm not going to mention the area because there I've gone fishing with. I'm waiting to take Beast River fishing down there one day. But we'd have trophy striped bass, and we'd have to put them in the crate. They used to crank them up and then bring them over to the other full one and drop them in there. Because if we emptied it down, which happened once, guy went to lunch. He said, oh, yeah, I'll be fine. By the time I get back, it'll be down. Well, it drained totally. And what you saw down there is very sad a little bit. When you look down in there by the sluiceway door that closes down, there was like a puddle of water there. That's where the water, goes out. It's like almost like a ramp going out to it. There must have been at least, 200 fish there. And you would all see them with the mouth opening, trying to get air. The EPA came. They got fined $500 a fish. Obviously, these are big companies that can afford it. I'm not saying it's a good thing. They can just do it. But that person lost his job because of that. It's a serious thing. You guys do understand, and I know Alan does, these big fish, man, for what it takes, how many years for a fish to reach 50 pounds? What are the odds that fish is going to reach that? That's incredible. That's an incredibly low number. And to see that was, but that's never happened again, Alan. They were very strict. Nobody was ever allowed to leave and go to lunch. And hopefully they'll make it back when it's 2 feet. The guy messed up. But we have fish down there. And again, going back to what you were saying, the hot water releases are there. They are there. They are going in and out of that sluiceway door. I can go down there. I can go chunking over there. And you can catch fish pretty easily over there in the wintertime. The whole idea is always catch the fish, guys, and be as quick as you can do it. I don't know what you're going to do if you're going to weigh it. I'm not here to judge people. I like to put it on a ruler, get the number, and put it back in the water. If you really want to know the poundage, like Alan's done with his fish, take the length and the girth, and that's it. And then later you can figure out how many pounds that fish was exactly. Alan, it's 8:25. I know you said your kids you like to put them in bed by 8:30. I'm going to give you something to finish this off with, whichever you'd like to talk about. So please, Alan, talk about whatever you'd like to say to anybody, to anything.
Oh man, this is a tough one. Open book. Well, let me ask you this one.
Okay.
So this is not something. Excuse me. We fish in the Chesapeake. Do you ever fish a needlefish?
Yes, we do. And Charlie taught me how to fish a needlefish. He was very big on not having any action on it. He would, like you said, he'd find that point and throw it out there and just let it lay there. Let the tide or the current do whatever it wanted with it, and that's where he would catch his big fish. He loved needlefish.
Let me tell you a story to tell you another story. All right. So yeah, I know I'm probably not your typical guest on here because the background's a little different, the area's a little different, but it's the same fish. You're whatever you caught a month ago, I'll catch next month, right? And they respond similarly. So I was out at dinner. I was at a place called Striper Bites, and it's a place in Delaware. I was just having a dinner with my family, and a guy walks up to me, and I had no idea who he was. He's a big guy. I don't know. I dare say how tall he was, but I'm a pretty big dude, at 230, 6 foot. And this guy was, a bit bigger than I was. And he said, "Are you Alan?" And I was like, "Oh, geez, sitting here having dinner with my family. I don't know where I know this guy from, if I don't know him or whatever else, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm Alan." He says, and then he immediately starts talking about fishing. So I said, "Okay, I know what he's thinking about. I know what he's after. I'm not." I didn't harm him in some way. He's coming back to get me, right? So anyway, his wife pulls him away because she doesn't want him talking my ear off while I'm having dinner with the family. But we happened to catch him outside. We continued talking. I think my wife went one way, his wife went the other way with the kids and whatever. We started chatting. He said, hey, I've got a whole lot of, lures and plugs and things like that. I'd love to show you. And this guy's retired, by the way. So he fished Montauk, he fished Block Island, and he would keep I think a truck on Block Island. He'd fly over, he'd spend the month there. I think he lived near Manhattan, spend the month there and come back. So anyway, he invited me over to his house 5 a.m. the next morning. So 5 a.m. comes, and I meet him for some coffee. He shows me the basement. He goes, he's got like a museum down there. And that's kind of where I got the idea for the museum I talked about. I was like, my gosh, this is like history right here. Old surfcaster guy showing me all the plugs and the history and all this. And he shows me this needlefish, which that time I'd never seen before. And he explained, it didn't look like anything, man. I said, well, this, I can't imagine this working, right? But he described it exactly like you did. And I said, well, I have the same experience. And there's a few of us that have come across this in winter fishing. And oh man, I wish I had it. I don't think I can find it real fast, but it's behind me somewhere.
Yeah.
We will throw like a weightless soft plastic with just like kind of a hook on it. And we will just crawl it across the surface, almost like it's not moving whatsoever. It doesn't feel like you're fishing. And sometimes we'll do the same thing with like a SP minnow.
Correct.
There's no movement, but it's the only way to get some of these big winter fish to bite. It was crazy. So we kind of bonded over that needlefish thing, and that winter action, that bite. It's like you're not in fishing. This is kind of how fast you're reeling. Wild, right? And kind of maybe a secret I'm letting out there now, but that's a big winter tactic. Just hardly move it, but it completely identifies with some of the stuff I've so
I when I hear something that I know too, I really want to intervene here. And I got to tell you that back in the days when I first started going out with Bill Wetzel, that was one thing that he hit me with all the time. It was like, slow down your reel, and if you're not used to it, trust me, it's hard to sit there and go like this. So, over the years, I've learned to do it. And now when I go winter fishing in those spots, if you're not reeling super slow, because this guy's next to me, and they're like, how are you catching the fish? And I'm not. We're using the same bait. They'll ask me straight up. And I'll tell them, you're spinning the reel too quick. And then I almost sound like Bill Wetzel going, dude, you're spinning it too fast. Slow down. And then finally, boom, you're right. But you got to get used to that's a getting used to motion, man, because if you're just reeling in, regular, you're thinking you're going slow. You're not. This is super slow. These fish are lethargic, and you got to get it right in front of their mouth. So when they open up that big vacuum, boom, you got yourself catching a nice size fish there. That's a fact, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the questions you have here. I can obviously see you've got a lot of guys that are really smart fishermen, and that excites me. I love talking to fishermen. I really do. So don't be shy. Send me messages. I talk to all you guys all the time, and I love to hear what you have to say. I mean, I know I'm on the show here talking now, but I'd much rather be on the other side listening to what everybody else has to say.
Yeah, and guys, I can guarantee you this: when you ask Alan a question, he's gonna reply to you pretty quick, and if he doesn't, he's going to reply to you. So I like Alan. He's really for the striper community, the striper industry. He's into saving the fish. He talks about, Alan, I want you back on the show again in a few months. If it's okay with you, we can talk about spawns and go on that. Because as you know, and we've talked about together, we've had some pretty bad spawns in the last few years, and the future's looking pretty bleak for those bigger fish to show up. Right now, you even told me right now, if you're looking to catch a big fish, it's not a bad time to be fishing for these 50s. Because the spawns we're talking about right now, can I say early 90s?
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah,
there you go.
Like it was post-moratorium. We had some good spawns there, unlike we'd seen in a long time. And you can see where there was a lack of fish. And that's where this sort of 50 mythology came from, because, you're not all fish grow that big or that long. Some of them top out at 48 inches, and that's the end of it. They'll get bigger. But, there's this mythology over 50 because they're outliers of outliers. And when you have few numbers, you just don't get that many. And so we're in that situation now where there's very little spawn. Currently, it matches what we had before. And so, when we say a fish of a lifetime, this may be the golden era, and it may not come around for quite some time.
And that's really awesome. And that brings us right now, guys, to the question that's going to win this package. Be ready on your computers when I ask this, or whatever you're typing in. So you see here what you're going to win really quick again. 4-time strong Mustang hook. We got two Nicole custom bucktails, 2 of them. Also, she makes teasers, 3/4 and 1 ounce. We also have a bottleneck here. We also have a tin here that's painted in white with a bucktail. I love this one. Just look at it. Look how cool this is. It's very, very nice. Clean lure. You can use this. Charlie's Grace fishing lures. Also, bait fuel saltwater. That's the 5-inch saltwater grub, pink. We also have an SP Minnow and our favorite NLBN 5-inch paddle tails. And this one is called, again, I like the name, Hell Yeah Butter paddle tail. Hell Yeah Butter 5-inch. All right, so that's the giveaway. Now, listen, I'm going to ask the question right now, and you heard him speaking. This is pretty much, hopefully, maybe some of you know, maybe some of you don't know. We didn't talk about this, but here it is. There was, at the time of writing this, Alan has caught 13 verified 50-inch fish. Correct, Alan?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, here's the question. Be quick and be ready. How many has he caught in the last 3 years? Go. That's verified in the last 3 years. And the answers are coming in, but not the right one. Verified in the last 3 years. I'm going to say it one more time. He's caught 13, right? How many has he caught in the last 3 years? You guys are terrible.
I did give the answer before this.
There it is. Bugsy. Bugsy got it. 12. Bugsy, you're in. You win that package tonight.
Wow,
nice move there, Bugsy. Bugsy!
I hate the numbers.
I hate the numbers, right? The numbers we used to do, Alan, back in the days when we started, we'd have, 4, 5, 10 people listening in the days. When we first started, we'd have 3 and 4 people on for a good couple of months, right? There was like nobody who knew who Mr. Poseidon was. But anyway, once the Van Stalls started going, well, they started coming a little more. But other than that, way to go, Bugsy. Nice pick up there. Guys, if you get a chance, please stop by his site. It's not Chesapeake Trilogy on Instagram. It's ChesapeakeTrilogy.com, and pick up your copy today. And it's not a book. You're going to download it, and you can go to anywhere else you want to go. Do this at your house if you want to see the book itself like I did and end up with 4 million tabs on it. You know you're loving the book. But other than that, thank you. That's Chasing 50, a striped bass angler's guide to the fish of a lifetime. Alan Battista, make your own luck. What a way to go, Alan. Thank you so much for coming to my show, Alan, to our live stream, for educating us tonight with some pretty awesome stuff. I mean, awesome. It's a pleasure. And any shout-outs you like to say out there?
Oh, geez. Just a pleasure to be on here, guys.
Don't forget your wife. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Just one man's opinion on the fishery. I could be right. I could be wrong. Like I said, everybody's perspective is unique here. My wife should probably get a shout out. She has endured the wife of a fisherman we've been together since high school, so a very, very long time. The kids know all about it. Yeah. Daddy, are you going out to fish tonight? No, I don't want you to go out tonight. And so shout out to them. Each one of the books that I've written, I've dedicated to them. Nice. You gotta love the sponsors that take care of me.
Absolutely.
Good one. Kokatat's a good one. Torquedo is obviously a big one. Smith provides some great glasses. So I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, trying to go quickly, but lots of baits, lots of good stuff here. If you want to talk gear, I'm more than happy to help keep you safe.
Nice. Guys, just remember,
thank you,
ask him questions. Best guy to ask right here. I got him on my show. He'll answer you back. Lots of knowledge filled up. He's got many, many, many years of fishing under his belt. Once again, Alan, thank you so much. My wife thanks you. But before you go, what size shirt do you wear, Alan?
So it depends on the day, but some extra large and an extra extra large.
Okay.
That's a double extra large, right, buddy?
Extra large or double extra.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. So I'll do that, Alan. I'll send you some good stuff. I think you'll enjoy. Great. I thank you so much once again for this. I can't tell you how happy I am. I'm a little depressed that it's over so quick. Time always flies when you get the best on the show.
Thanks
Thank you
so
to
much,
everybody
Alan,
out there for coming on. Congratulations to Bugsby. Way to go. And guys, I'll see you next week. Next week's the big show. I got a party at my house. If you want to come to the party, please bring a lot of money. We take donations. Bring them next week. Christmas time is always a beautiful time, so can't wait to give the giveaway next week. And during the week, I'll put up the packages one by one. Everybody will see them. Thanks again to everybody. And Alan, we'll see you next time. And
Good
everybody
night,
else,
Alan.
we'll see you next week. Let's go. Let's
Peace
go.
out, everybody. Bye.
I did the wrong button there.